and we can let people jump in. So a lot of familiar faces or familiar names, since we can't see each other in person these days. But thanks everyone for checking in to our August executive talk. We're excited to have a couple different speakers this month, all who have been very helpful for TMA, and we have more information about BlueTech Week coming up, so a lot of good information. And I just quickly, I don't want to take too long just because we have, I don't want to cut too much into the meat and potatoes here, but I wanted to bring up quickly some of the upcoming things we have for September and October. We've been doing 2 monthly series, the BlueTech Global Connect, which is a monthly webinar that features 3 international companies in a particular space. So September, we're doing water, wastewater, and then October, we have aquaculture and biomarine. So the registration page is actually up for September, and I will be sending an invitation soon. We're really excited to have 3 really innovative companies, and that's all been organized by Tamara. So shout out to Tamara, thank you. And for our executive talks, we have 2 more really interesting ones coming up. We'll have a joint talk by 2 fractional CFOs in September, and then the California Manufacturing Technology consulting firm in October. So yeah, good things to come. And then Melissa will go into far more detail about BlueTech Week, but we will be going virtual this year, and we have some good updates. I will leave it at that, and you'll learn more later this hour. And then quickly, just the contact information for myself, Melissa, and Tamara. If anyone needs to get a hold of us, we can be easily reached via email or phone. And a quick just introduction to what we have planned for today. So we have 4 short presentations for today, starting with Huntley Pennington from Katuvi. She's going to be talking about social media marketing, which is really important, especially now, given how virtual everything is. Social media has become increasingly important. And from there, we're going to jump to Sean Newsome from Shorebreak Tech, who will be speaking on Tradeshow Basics, but more so just virtual conferences and how you should kind of prepare yourself for the new virtual arena in the conference world. Then from there, we'll have Lindsay, Scoggin, and Kyle Wright from Finest City Entertainment. They're actually the company who are behind the scenes for our virtual BlueTech Week. So they'll be having, they'll have tons to tell us about just video production, which will lead into BlueTech Week 2020, which is virtual this year, and Melissa will have more information regarding the different events we have, how to exhibit virtually, the demos, so on and so forth. So yeah, lots to cover. And so without further ado, I am going to get rid of my screen and hand it over to Huntley. Huntley, let me know if it worked for you. Yay.
All right, can everyone see this okay? We all set? Fantastic. So I'm Huntley Penniman. I am the founder of Katuvi. We are a small crew that help brands successfully navigate their social media goals. And today I'm going to help you craft an approach to creating social media for a specific event, in this case, presenting at a virtual conference. Everything that I'm going to touch on today can go into far more detail, so I'm going to try and keep it as high level, but I am definitely available and open if you wish to discuss your social media strategy for conferences further. A little bit about myself. I used to work for SAIC as part of the Navy Marine Mammal Program, and then as a diver with Peraton, both out of the Spey War Base in Point Loma. I attended Scripps Institution of Oceanography in La Jolla and received my master's in marine biodiversity and conservation. With my colleague, Amanda Townsell, we started Katuvi in 2017 because we realized that there was this whole marketing ecosystem on social media, and we wanted to help brands understand and strategize how to best take advantage of these opportunities. So every brand that we work with has a slightly different approach to their social media strategy. Today's ideas are on our best practices for social media, but they should definitely be developed with your brand in mind. So the top 3 take-homes that I'm going to hopefully go with you today are confidence in posting with your audience in mind and creating engaging content, and then some tools to help you share your content far and wide. Engaging content is content that garners a lot of responses and actions, such as link clicks, likes, shares, comments, etc. Based on the different algorithms, the more engaging your content is, the more people will see it. All of the information that I'm going to share with you, again, is high level, and so we could definitely go much further in depth on any of these points. So the first thing to consider really is, who is your audience? The most valuable person or audience member that you are posting for is somebody who wants to complete your call to action. Consider who they are and why they're interested in your content. More important than sharing your content or promoting your brand is sharing it directly with the audience who wants to hear it. This is doubly important for things such as conferences or webinars. Consider why you are attending this conference. What are you hoping to gain from this conference? And how is what you're hoping to achieve change who your audience is? So as you're developing content specifically for sharing your part of this conference, work it into your social media strategy. Stick to your current social media strategy. If you don't usually post graphics, don't start posting graphics. Stick to images. If you usually keep your content on the short side, stick to short. Don't start doing long form. Use the type of content that your audience is familiar with. When you're creating your content, make sure to include all of the relevant information, especially links and conference tags. That could be the conference handles or the conference hashtags. Choose one call to action, for example, register today. If you have too many call to actions, for example, go to this website, call this number, register here, it's going to distract from what your ultimate goal is. Make sure to add any conference hashtags to Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then if there are Facebook event pages, you can also add them on to your Facebook page. So something that we do when we're preparing content for an upcoming event is we will create a content calendar and lay it out. We recommend posting 2 weeks before, 1 week before, day before any event takes place, and then after the event has occurred. Lay out the important dates, what you want your content to look like. You know your audience best, and you may want to post more or less based off of their engagement. If the engagement is low, take the posting down a notch. If it's super positive, post away. Engagement could vary based on the media type as well, so that's where knowing your audience definitely comes in handy. Do they respond well to graphics? Do they prefer videos? Do they prefer images? To keep from overposting, you can also pin events important information to your Facebook page, and you can also pin it to the top of your Twitter profile. As you're doing all of this, make sure to take notes for future events on what your audience responds well to and what they don't respond well to. So we will start planning our social content with our content calendar. Make sure as you're creating your content that you include all of the information that your audience needs, the who, the what, where, when, why. The easier you make it for your audience to complete a call to action, the more likely they are to do it, and then building it within your social approach, your social strategy. Try to keep your copy clean. We suggest using Bitly to shorten links if you're going to do that. If you are posting on Facebook and you just want the link, then you can always allow it to populate on your Facebook post and remove the actual web address. As far as for Twitter, use the conference hashtag. The conference hashtag is super important to engage with other companies that might be there, or your potential audience or clients or customers. Research other hashtags that might be relevant to your audience for this event. And then we suggest sticking to keywords on Facebook. Again, You know your audience best, but for Facebook, for example, if you were to include BlueTech Week in the copy, it's going to be just as searchable as doing a hashtag BlueTech Week. Facebook hasn't really developed a platform for hashtags, so we prefer to use them on the other platforms and just keep our copy nice and clean for Facebook. And then also take a look at the conference calendar. Is there anything else going on with the conference that you think might be of value to your audience? And then incorporate that into your posting strategy for the upcoming event. So when posting visuals with your content, we define graphics as something that includes words on it that might include a short description, names, dates, times, all of that good stuff. The cleaner you can keep it, the more visually pleasing it will be. And again, go based off of what your audience feedback is. If you post graphics and don't get any engagement, maybe go back to images. So one tip that we like to use is creating social media toolkits to share with either partners or potentially whoever's presenting for your company to share what this event is coming up. We usually use a Google spreadsheet with all of the information and include your handle for each platform. When sharing this, do some research on the style and provide content that matches what your partner or the individual's content normally looks like. We will usually create a set of Google Drive folders with graphic and image options cropped to the different sizes so they're ready to go for different platforms. And after this presentation, there is a fabulous tool that we use to kind of keep track of all of the different sizes, and I will link it to the chat. This technique is a good way to help amplify your message, be prepared to return the favor. And if you've already put content out, especially on Instagram or Twitter, include links to that content and make it easy for them to reshare. So during the conference, the most important thing you can do with social media is to get engaged. Take advantage of Instagram stories, take advantage of Twitter. They're both fantastic platforms for timely content. They're more in the moment, they're more conversational. They're great platforms for taking your audience to this conference without cluttering your channels. So when going to a conference or a virtual conference, we will usually take pictures throughout the day and compile a story at the end of the day, but you don't have to do that. Make sure to tag relevant handles or partners, and that will make them able to reshare those stories. It increases the likelihood of your story being reshared. On Twitter, we will usually kind of share presentations or highlights that we think are really important and relevant to our audience, making sure to tag presenters and the conference hashtag. Twitter is such a strange platform, but it is essentially like a giant networking/cocktail party. By using the hashtags, you can join conversations that you want to be a part of. And the best part is everyone has a name tag on Twitter. And then as far as for on-the-fly photo editing and posting, I like Adobe Spark, I like Adobe Lightroom. They both let you resize images real quick for different platforms. After the conference is over, we recommend doing a summary post, thank the conference holders and attendees, include follow-up information like a recording of your presentation if you are able, or where people can find more post-conference information. And then finally, back to our takeaways. As you're creating this content, consider who your audience is, consider why it's valuable for them. Create engaging content. The more engaging your content is, the more people who are going to see it, and that will help you share your content far and wide, as well as the help of toolkits and encouraging your partners and other individuals to help share your content. And I think we are planning on doing questions at the very end, but I've also provided Katuvi's handles, our website, and then my email address is huntley@katuvi.com, and I would be super happy to answer any questions or just chat about social media. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Huntley. Yes, and I will confirm that we're going to do questions at the end. If people start thinking or noodling on some questions, you can just put them into the chat and we will address everything at the very end of all 4 presentations. So I'm going to go ahead and make Sean the presenter now, and he is going to give us some tips on virtual conferences. how to prepare for them.
Okay, everybody see the screen okay?
Yep.
Great. All right, well, my name is Sean Newsome. I'm the founder of Shorebreak Tech. We do product representation focused on technology for the BlueTech industries, primarily in defense, critical infrastructure, and scientific research. So I was asked to talk about Tradeshow Basics. I think this is because I'm kind of notorious in the way I aggressively go after a trade show. I learned that from a good friend, John Flynn, who was director of marketing at Teledyne when I was there. So he had a big influence on me. And in fact, I even told him that this morning during a call, that really right now, I think the best thing to do is talk about online conference basics. And we're all learning as we go too. This is still relatively new to us. But a lot of things I do at trade shows, work on conferences as well. So first things first. I want to start with saying, do as I say and not as I do, okay? This is a picture my wife took of me in April. I was presenting to the United States Navy, and you can see I've got my Hugo Boss sport coat on. I've got my submarine dolphin pin, so they know I'm relevant to the industry. But she was particularly mad at me because I've had a major faux pas there, obviously. I'm wearing socks with board shorts, which you don't do in Southern California. But it's more about, understanding that we're not going to do all this right. We're never going to be 100%, but we try and do our best to do all of the things we can do to make our presentations as good as possible. So some basic guidelines. One is know the software. You load it, you play with it. If not, you can YouTube it. If you can't load it, in case of GoToMeeting, unless you're a host or have an account, you can't do that. So you can go look at all kinds of resources online to help you. You can prepare, of course, get there early, get your laptop plugged in. The reason I say that, it just came up before we all started here. If your laptop's plugged in, you are more likely to have higher video quality. And you're not gonna do something embarrassing like I did about a month ago, which is have my entire laptop die in the middle of the presentation, okay? So again, do as I say, not as I do. Okay? Hold on one second, I got a little skip here. All right, appearance. Of course, we already talked about dress. Dress appropriately. And I like to dress down like with the government. If I dress nice, as I always do for the military, once I see everybody in t-shirts, I'll dress down to a t-shirt the next time we have a subsequent meeting. Pay attention to your background. I've just got a simple white background today. I'm working on improving my backgrounds. I'm not real big fan of the drop-in backgrounds on Zoom because I have light hair and it tends to blend into the logo and it ends up looking funny. So I'm looking at getting a green screen right now. And then not suitable for work. Make sure there's nothing in the background, obviously, that's not suitable for work. Don't eat a sandwich during a meeting unless you're having a happy hour with beer and pretzels kind of meeting, which does occur these days. And be present. Make eye contact with your camera because you're talking to an audience. And that audience wants to know that you're present and there with them, okay? This is another one, family, pets, and people, or family and pets. A lot of places online say, don't do this. Don't get your family involved. We've all seen these cringeworthy videos of, dogs doing stuff in the background or kids falling down or interrupting. But I had a meeting last week and it was in West Africa. And the day before the meeting, I remembered that the customer who I hadn't talked to in over a year, he had sent me photos of his wedding in West Africa. And it was culturally exciting to see these photos. And it was very important for him to share that with me. So during the presentation, my wife tried to quietly let me know that she was leaving. And I said, no, come on over. And I introduced him to my wife and my child as they left the house. And it made a big impact on him. And he followed up with a really nice detailed email that was quite personal. So I know I had made that connection with him. So, it's a case-by-case basis. So none of these rules are set in stone, maybe some more than others, but just keep that in mind. Participate, ask a question. At trade shows, I'm 75% of the time, if I'm in a presentation where someone's speaking, I'm thinking of and I'm asking a question at the end. Brennan Gray, who's here, I've seen him ask an excellent question during a presentation. It shows that you're interested. It shows that maybe you have some knowledge that the presenter or the other people attending that discussion may want to follow up with you as well. It makes it an easy avenue for you to go back and follow up with the presenter or other relevant people in the presentation. So, it's really critical, I think, to make your company known without being annoying, of course, right? Online, that applies to attending breakout sessions. Don't just say, okay, I'm done, my obligation's over. If there's breakout sessions, get in there. You never know what you're going to find. I did this a couple weeks ago. There were 5 breakout sessions. I wanted to go to 3 of them. I couldn't. It turned out I picked the wrong one, and I was lamenting the fact that I wasn't in the other one. So I asked a nice pertinent question to the moderator, asked him if I could follow up with him later, and politely excused myself and moved on to a different breakout session. So, go ahead and navigate as necessary to get as much impact as you can out of whatever event you're participating in. And then, of course, the follow-up, right? I like to connect on LinkedIn, of course, send an email. LinkedIn's a big part of what I do. I don't have Facebook. I have Twitter attached to my LinkedIn. So it's all business related, my social media. Again, know your audience. This is I asked for the list of who was going to be in this, potentially be here. I took notes. This is the same thing I'll do at a trade show where I download, it can use a lot of paper, but I'll download every exhibitor. I'll make a note. I'll go to every website. I'll spend a half an hour to an hour a day for a week if it's oceanology doing this. And I've made notes on who I want to talk to, websites I need to go to. I've mapped that on the floor plan before the trade show, and I'm walking that breadcrumb trail and picking up where I left off when I have to break away to do something like go back to the booth or do a conference. But it's really important to understand who you're talking to, right? These are your future customers, they're future collaborators. So don't just write them off because you think maybe, well, it's not relevant. Take a good look. Maybe they've got some other common interest or something they did in the past in the previous position that's important. So again, use LinkedIn, look at what their company websites and do Google searches on the people in the company itself. All right, this is a big one, make it better. This is my presentation yesterday. It was for naval doctors and naval commanders. And I was showing a sensor that goes on your body to look at the bubble count inside your bloodstream when you come up from a dive. So rather than have them sit through a 4-minute video with really bad music, I instead set up a system where I did a live use of the sensor real time. They were watching the blood count or the bubble count in my own bloodstream, and it had a big impact. In fact, they came back and we have a meeting again next Thursday. So look at things to make it better. All right. I'm also going to add a green screen to my presentation because I saw someone who was dropping the presentation behind them so that they're right there engaged with the customer while the presentation's going on or the videos are going on. So, think about this is what you're doing today. So make it as good as you can. Make it as professional as you can. You work in technology environments. So, try and be as technologically capable as you can. My last word is be yourself and have fun. I think I've demonstrated that I like to be myself and have fun today. This is work. It's not only work, but it's what you're doing. You are in front of a laptop talking to people on a video screen a lot more often than you expected to be doing when the year started. So just make the most of it, and try and make it engaging. It's got to be engaging or you're not going to capture your audience. Finally, I want to jump over and talk about the technology demo day for BlueTech Week. BlueTech Week is all virtual this year, but we are going to have a demo day. I'm going to help moderate it. It'll be on Monday, the 16th of November. It's openings for 22 companies, 15-minute time slots, running between 7:45 and 13:45 that day with breaks in between. We're going to look for a keynote. Down below is a list of the type of people that we're inviting for this event. So if you need any assistance in how to talk to military, you can talk to me as well. I'll be happy to help you with that, or military and defense, I should say. But you can't come here and do a demonstration like we were planning to do on the water. So why not take the time? There's another person here, I believe, from Deep Tracker. Deep Tracker did a great job. They do remotely operated vehicles of creating multi-camera live video presentations online immediately after the COVID lockdown happened. I mean, like within a week, they had 5 camera view presentations going. So Sam McDonald's the president there, and I would encourage you. I'm sure she'd be happy to hear from you or myself, and I'll help you navigate and get some assistance in trying to make this demo as good as possible So you can't be here, but you virtually can, and you can do it very professionally. And that's all I have for now, and I'll take the questions at the end of the presentation. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sean. And I think that's really a perfect segue into our presentation, My Finest City Entertainment, tying together the pieces of video production and how you can use Sean's tips and Lindsay and Kyle's tips to create something that can be, you know, professional and virtual and make the most of these times, these virtual times. So Lindsay, I'm gonna give you the screen.
Okay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and have Kyle kick us off.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle with Finest City Entertainment. I'm a senior project manager. What Finest City Entertainment does is video production with a focus on live broadcasting. Obviously, with the times that we're in right now, everyone's going virtual, so everyone has to be a little bit more tech savvy. And our goal today and our talking points is just kind of guide you through pre-taped content for yourself, and then also live content, which Lindsay will take over after that. So I'll go ahead and go over just the basic practices for you. So we get to start with what to wear and what not to wear. Sean, that was brilliant. You can wear that if you want. That was great. I loved it. Loved everything about it, man. As long as there's no bright or solid white colors that you are wearing, that's very important, especially if you have a light on you. What that's going to do is that's going to blow your shirt out and then make your face dark. And we want to avoid that at all times. We want to see you so your audience can engage. So also no stripes or busy patterns, solid colors and minimal patterns are better. And then also shiny or easily wrinkled fabrics, that will just cause a lot of trouble. We will see that on camera and it can be distracting, so just kind of avoid that. You can also, you can wear casual or dressy, or you can just follow Sean's, yeah, I just love the way he did it. I can't get enough of it. It was awesome. A very, very big thing that a lot of people don't realize is noisy jewelry. If this is around your neck, I'm sorry. I know it hurts, but that's what we hear when we get records from people. So try to avoid any noisy jewelry. And then we're going to go into the environment and what equipment to focus on. So plan to record, Sean actually touched base on this, in a controlled environment, preferably indoors. I know that we've all seen the videos of the dogs fighting in the background and the kids yelling and screaming. So just try to keep yourself in control in a room isolated while you do your records. Make sure that the light is in front of you. I need to practice this myself. As you can see in my, there's a giant headlight coming in right here, this little spotlight for me, but that you want to actually avoid that and try to keep all the light in front of your face and not have it behind you. And then be super mindful of the noises of your surroundings. These mics that we're going to be using, especially if you're using something on your laptop, it picks up everything. So that's cars, AC vents. So you need to be very mindful. If there's a room that is slightly noisier in your home than the other, maybe you want to stay away from that room. Okay, this is my favorite. This is my favorite part. Give yourself a beat before and after your presentation. So what I mean by that, so before you start talking, please give yourself a second to just smile at the camera and then go into your presentation. Because I can't tell you how many times I'm trying to fix footage of people just going in and it's like, oh, hello, welcome. And I can't use any of that. It doesn't look good. So when you hit record, take your seat or wherever you're going to be. If you're going to be standing, that's okay too. Smile at the camera, give it your beat, and then go. And then also at the very end, I also cannot tell you how many times people have recorded themselves and they were maybe a little nervous or something like that. Say, okay, thank you very much for your time. Boom, I'm done. Yes. Can't use that. I can't use that. I need a beat to cut away from that. So please, after you're done with your presentation, thank you very much. And then that'll give me a second to transition. If you're using your camera on your phone, it's not ideal to use a phone, but I know that the times that we're in, we might have to do that. So all that we ask is that you hold and record horizontally, not vertically. No selfies, please, no selfies. And then make sure to silence that cell phone as well if you're going to be recording from your phone, because you don't want any unwanted alerts or notifications. That also goes for your computer. A couple times you'll hear that your computer dings with an update. So just make sure that you go into your settings and turn off all the notifications. We highly recommend that you also do a test record to ensure that your audio and your video is on par with what you're trying to go for. This might include multiple takes, which is totally fine. We'd rather have too much than not enough. We do recommend, and I know that the times that we're in, it's a little difficult, but if you can get your hands on a digital single lens reflex camera or a DSLR with a shotgun mic, that is going to up the ante for your video quality, and as well as your audio quality. So if you have one sitting around, a lot of us have DSLRs that take photos. Does that camera also do video? So you can go into the settings of that camera and take a look. We can also, if you end up picking one up on your own and you're not sure how to use it, myself and Lindsay will be giving you our contact information. You can get a hold of us. We are more than happy to talk you through the process of how these things work. Okay, so best practices for capturing outside demos. Obviously, with our topic at BlueTech Week, some of you are going to need to be close to the water and maybe be outside. That's okay. We just need to go over a couple of things. So be very mindful of the exposure. If there's too much light, if the sun's too harsh on you, you're going to blow out your image, and we cannot recover blown out footage. You just can't. You can up dark footage a little bit. It might mess up the quality a little bit, but as for blown out footage, once it's blown out, there's no recovering that. High winds. If there are high winds outside, it's probably not the best day to record, because most microphones, even the high quality microphones, if you don't have the boom pole with the dead cat, you're gonna get pretty horrible audio quality that is not salvageable. Depending on where you are setting up, please make sure, and this is if you're like 8 feet away or more from your video recorder. So maybe you have your phone set up on a tripod. If you're more than 8 feet away, you're going to need to record that audio separately, and you're going to need to figure out a way to do that. The best practice would be, if you're recording with a camera, a DSLR camera, you could actually record off of your phone and have your phone nearby you. And you can also do this in your pocket as well. Just make sure that you project. There are some decently priced lavalier microphones that you could pick up on Amazon, and we attached a link below. You guys can take a look. But it simply plugs right into a smartphone. The link that I provided, it's called a pop voice microphone, and it has a 16-foot cable attached to it. So it's very versatile. You could even run that to and from your camera and still give yourself a good amount of distance, and then it just clips right below right here. So we recommend doing multiple takes. Again, the more the merrier. I know it seems a little cumbersome at times, but if you can get multiple records and then go through those records and find the best one, you're going to be happy with your final product, guaranteed. And with that, I will kick it over to Lindsay to talk about the live aspect of everything.
Hi, everyone. One quick thing to touch back on what Kyle said is this PDF will be shared with all of you, so you'll be able to access that link for that Amazon microphone after this presentation. But as we are moving forward into the live contributor components, since BlueTech Week will be entirely virtual, we expect to have a blend of those pre-recorded videos, which we're playing back, as well as then some of you that will be contributing live in that broadcast. So if you're planning to be one of those live contributors, you'll expect to have our team work with you prior to you to make sure that you're able to connect seamlessly. We are using a broadcasting software to where we'll be able to provide a link that doesn't allow you to doesn't require you to download anything, but we'll test with you to make sure you can connect via your webcam as well as your microphone, whether that'll be on your computer or your smartphone. Some best practices in preparation for being a live contributor. The most important thing, as we've seen in Zoom and GoToMeeting and everything thereon, is to have a stable internet connection. In order to do this, there are some things you can do, whether it's hard lighting into your actual modem at home, or kind of minimizing any additional use of the internet wherever you're at. So when you are planning on being live, tell the whole house, no going on Netflix, no streaming from your tablet. And, if you could minimize and control that as much as possible, it'll just ensure that there aren't any glitches, you're not freezing, your audio is not choppy, and you don't drop the call entirely. As far as some best practices for the environment of your live contribution, they're pretty much exactly the same as Kyle went over for the pre-recorded content in terms of what to wear, lighting, audio, all of those same best practices apply. So definitely keep all of those in mind. Now, content recommendations for both your live and pre-recorded content. You want to keep in mind the length of your videos and demos. Obviously, you need to cover everything, but you want to make sure that you kind of trim that down to where you just have the meat and potatoes and not all of the extra stuff, because you really want to keep that audience engaged. Additionally, you want to make your content more dynamic by including both camera, visuals, diagrams, props potentially in your actual setup. So if you're here at your computer, maybe having a demo product or one of your products there with you, a branded logo of something, the more that you can dress up your actual environments, the more authority you'll have and the more engaging that content will be. Now, one big thing is with PowerPoints. Number one, create your presentation in 16:9 widescreen, not 4:3 square. This is going to look so much better in the live broadcast environments. As people are watching, you're able to pull that content full screen without having bars on the side that you see when you have a square aspect ratio presentation. Additionally, you want to be mindful and limit the amount of text per slides. You don't want it to be too cumbersome for the audience to be reading through everything. You want it to be more visual. Use animation sparingly. This is just, don't do anything too overwhelming, especially for those people, if you're broadcasting, sometimes it's hard for them to see it in real time, and animations can get a little, just a little overwhelming. So just use them a little sparingly. Utilize colors, emphasize your content and branding that way. And if including imagery, photos, graphs, it's super important that you ensure they're in high resolution to avoid pixelation. In the broadcast setting, we're going to be sending everything at a high resolution. So if there are any components to your presentations which are low resolution, it'll be very obvious when it's in the live broadcast setting that it's a lower resolution than the rest of the content being presented. Now, just like everyone else, if there are any questions, we are more than happy to follow up in this presentation or afterwards. We'll be sending out all of our contact information, but we're really excited with working with all of you to make sure that you're able to share your content just as strong and just as impactful as you were to in a live setting.
Thank you, Lindsay and Kyle. And I also wanted to mention that I'm recording this, so it will be available to everyone after the presentation. That way you can go over all of the really helpful tips that everyone's given. So I'm going to now give it to Melissa to talk more about BlueTech Week itself. And all of these helpful presentations have really been an aid to the virtual BlueTech Week that we're going to be having in November. So looking forward to Melissa's presentation.
Thanks, Shara. I hope you guys noticed I'm trying to take all the notes in that Kyle and Lindsay just gave. So I paused a moment, not for dramatic effect, but for any potential editing. So I know this is a lot to take in. I'm even thinking I need to remove my white sweater, but we'll do that later. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate everyone from the TMA BlueTech members and the community for participating today. We're going to go over some things for BlueTech Week, and we're very excited to announce that registration will be up and live For everyone, September 1st, and for our members, it will actually go live a little bit earlier next week. So we're happy. So being a TMA BlueTech member has some extra perks and benefits. So today we're going to go over just kind of a brief overview of BlueTech Week, just for time's sake, so we can have more of a Q&A. I will not be going over the detailed agendas, but I will be sending the draft agendas out to participants of this event who have attended, and then everything will be up and live by September 1st, available on our website. And then I'll also be just covering some various ways that people can participate at BlueTech Week, and we're very excited to go virtual this year. So this year, it's our 12th annual BlueTech Week, November 16th to 20th, so I hope you have those dates reserved. The theme this year is Aqua Optimism, Blue Tech, and the SDGs, and we're very excited to have Aqua Optimism in our theme. We really believe at our core that it's the TMA BlueTech members that are both finding some of the issues with their technology, but also giving us hope for the future, that it's their solutions, technologies that are going to help us resolve some of these issues and really create just a great landscape for progress in BlueTech. So we're happy to have that as our theme. On Monday, we'll be having our cluster convening with other organizations such as TMA BlueTech from around the world. And also, as Sean mentioned, on Monday is the Technology Demo Day that will be focused on companies who have kind of military and defense solutions. So if you are one of those companies and interested in exhibiting on that day, please contact me and we can discuss further details. Then on Tuesday, we're very happy to announce the Applied Ocean Science for Sustainable Blue Economy that is co-hosted with Scripps Institution of Oceanography. While we're very sad to not get to be physically located this year at Scripps, we are very happy to have them as a co-host for this day that's got some great programming, and we're happy to have them. We will also on Tuesday have our Blue Economy Workforce of Tomorrow. We do know that in order to have great blue tech companies, that we need to make sure that we have a talent pipeline. And so at TMA, we're always making sure that we're kind of helping develop next generation and also upskilling existing employees to help them have the skills that we need for blue tech. And then we will be having our 5th annual Blue Tech Investor Day. More details will be coming on that. We're hoping to have a great panel of investors, and we can also announce that there will be a small cash prize for the person that the investor community selects. And we will be working with the Brink. They're an SBDC out of USD, and they'll be helping support some of the companies that will be presenting on that day to just help their pitch. On Wednesday, the 18th and 19th, we go into the typical kind of blue tech summit and expo, except it won't be typical this year. We will be virtual. We will actually be having between those 2 days 45 to 60 panels. And so we will have a lot of material. The great aspect of this is that we will be utilizing the event app Whova again, and I'll go into more detail later. But people will have, registered attendees will have access to all this content, 6 months after the event, and we'll also be able to use it as a networking tool as well. And then on Friday, we'll be having a day focused on with both national, state, and local leaders to have a policy discussion on what we can do at that level and what our policy and government officials can do to help the blue tech industry. Speakerships, when I send the agenda out, if there's a particular topic that you think your company is well suited for, please do reach out to any of those on the team. I know Shara's given our contact information, and I know everybody on this call knows how to get in touch with us. We are doing some reach out, and we've begun a reach out for speakers, but we always encourage and want to make sure that we're highlighting our member companies as well as others in the blue tech community. As a speaker, you'll be able to post a video, have live Q&A, as well as have your bio. I encourage you, if you are a speaker, to make sure you register early so that people have access to your information and can reach out. So this is really not just about engagement over 5 days, but we are excited to basically have BlueTech Week throughout the year because of the online capabilities. Also, we are excited. It's going to have increased attendance and views because, believe it or not, even though we were located in San Diego, just because of time and travel, it was a challenge for some people to get to San Diego. And now that we're having a live event, we really do anticipate a tremendous increase in the viewership. From the attendees, obviously, it's the networking capabilities. And just so everybody is aware, it does have privacy capabilities. So if you don't want to share and take advantage of some of those, you're more than welcome to basically have it so that people can't see your information. But we do believe that it's the ability and the power in the network is to really let people know that you are attending the event and share your information. And when I say information, it's really name and email. There's no other privacy information that is shared with anyone. And again, the ability is to just extend your reach. So again, we are using Whova, the event app. And for those of you who've been in attendance for the last couple of years, we utilize this event app. I know last year more and more people were using it. You can do virtual meetups, you can have chat rooms in a community room, and schedule questions. So kind of think of it as the chat room has been used. This is kind of the chat room on Hyperdrive, and the chat room for events, available for 7 months, a month leading in or so, and then 6 months after. There are sponsorship availability. So this way you'll have there'll be a banner that's available to kind of highlight your sponsorship. Sponsorships start at $1,000 and allow kind of a customizable banner. And for anyone interested, we have that information on our website, and then I can also send information as well. And it just, again, increases the attendance and view ability. And you also have the ability to post collateral as well as any videos you would like as well. Partnerships, we do understand that there are some organizations who can't list themselves as sponsors. And so for those, we have partnerships, and then we work to kind of customize it to the restrictions and needs of those interested. Again, it's, some of the benefits are being able to be listed on the website as a partner, inclusion in our e-newsletter, as well as the event app. And for exhibitors, so I know it won't be the table that many of you are used to, but we are excited about all the increased access people will have, especially utilizing some of the great tips and tricks that our presenters have given today. You'll be able to have live stream capability as well as even posting videos beforehand. So even if there's a tutorial for your particular product, that could be posted ahead of time. So, many of us, or most of us, have participated in trade shows where you have to stand on your feet for 8 or 10 hours, sometimes repeating the same information and trying to have as much enthusiasm for that as possible. So just imagine if you can basically record that in a very dynamic and exciting way, and then your engagement with interested people is to just really how your product can serve their needs. And some of the basic product information is already been covered. So there's also some virtual workshops and meetup functionality that we can provide information for later. And then again, is all of it the post BlueTech Week engagement. So these are sort of next steps. If you guys want to contact any of the team, please feel free. Regarding speakerships, I will make sure when we send the recording out for this that you also have copies of the agenda as well as any other information. And we really want this BlueTech Week is about highlighting all the great technology and solutions of our member companies and those from the BlueTech community. And we're very excited to have this opportunity for everyone.
Thank you, Melissa. And I just want to add that as Melissa mentioned, Whova has really upped its virtual capabilities this year due to the uptick in just the need for virtual events and conferences and being able to connect. So we really are excited to use this service in lieu of the face-to-face networking opportunities that we have. Being able to access this platform for 6 months after the event is a big plus that we didn't have before. So please, yeah, if you have the chance to go onto Whova or to download the app and get familiar. We used it in the past for previous BlueTech weeks, but this year it's just going to be essential as a method to communicate with each other and really connect. So now we'll open it up to any questions. You can put questions into the chat for any of our presenters. We're happy to take them and yeah, answer anything that you may have.
Brendan, do you have any questions? Put you on the spot, and you're on mute too.
Yeah, I was trying to find the unmute button. Hey, Sean, that was a great presentation. By the way, I thought that was your normal professional look with the.
Well, that's because you spend more time with me than some of these people. That's why.
Anyway, could you expand a little bit on the green screen idea behind you? I'm just not familiar with that. I guess I've seen on the news say, "Oh, I have a green screen behind me," but is that
I
something
appreciate that. Yeah, so like when you watch the weatherman or weather person, they're in front of a green screen, and I've found that there are some that go together very quickly, you know, and fit into a small compact space that go behind you. I haven't done any hard searching, but you know, I have the problem that Kyle was talking about. I have white hair, so if I put myself in a non-green screen situation, I end up getting all kind of funny HR puffin stuff looking stuff going on for those that know what I'm talking about. It's so I decided I was going to get a green screen so that I could put the presentation videos behind me and get myself, you know, down in the corner. So I'm engaged directly while we're looking at the presentations, rather than kind of get lost. Like you can do the same thing with the dual camera. The one thing I like about that dual camera setup I have that I made, and that again was just using Amazon to get, you know, an Amazon Choice video camera, and getting on YouTube to find out which platforms I can use it on and not. Like for example, Google Meet will not let me use a dual camera right now, but that gives my hands on the main screen, and then I'm still on screen talking and engaging with the audience at the same time. So it does something similar. So I think those two tools, as an individual and not a big company, you want to always make yourself look a little bigger than you actually are, right? Are going to help me step up the game on my presentations. So I would, and what I'll do, Brendan, is once I decide what green screen I'm going to get, I'll just send you the link, and maybe I'll order 2 for next time I see you. Okay.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
Hey, Sean, if you really need that dual camera system for another, you know, whatever, there's a way you can do that through like a broadcasting software. It takes 2 cameras and you turn it into a switcher, and it pipes that directly into whatever platform you're using.
Yeah, Farns, thanks for adding that. That's what Deep Trekker is doing. They're doing a combination of that and then multiple cameras through the switcher as well. You can also use your phone. There's some ways that you can do that. I found, again, YouTube. You know, if you want to find out how to fix your paper airplane, you can do anything, learn about anything on YouTube. So, but yeah, I just, for me, I like the fact that it was tethered to my laptop, so I knew I didn't have any connectivity issues, and I can move it around and grab it as well and do different things with it. I mean, just like you can with a phone, but now it's in my briefcase and it's dedicated to my system, right? I hope that answers your question. And I also want to point out, you see how Brendan engaged the audience and asked a question, right? So.
Yeah, this is a small group, so turn on your cameras and ask questions.
I have another one. This one is for Huntley. It talks about social media. For us older guys, there's so many avenues in social media. you have a list of really good resources that would help get us more up to speed on it? I kind of like, hey, I use LinkedIn. That's as close as I get. And those are some real challenges. You know, we're a small company in which we have the young guys who use it, but the senior management tends not to. And I think as the senior management, we're losing out on a whole avenue that we should be really trying to embrace. But it's kind of daunting considering the bandwidth. We have limited bandwidth.
Absolutely. Well, and social media can be an entire department for a company. It can be, a branch within a marketing company. But I am more than happy to send you some resources, or I am more than happy to kind of talk with you one-on-one, and we can go through what channels are best for what your goals are. For each channel, they offer something a little bit different. And we definitely believe in quality over quantity. So instead of trying to be on all of the channels, sharing all of the content all of the time, kind of picking exactly where your audience is and meeting them there. And there are definitely different resources based on what your goals are. The challenge is that so many of these resources kind of get into, well, here's the correct time to post, and here's exactly how your content should be formatted, and kind of gets really into the weeds, and they might not be the right weeds for what your goals are. So, best kind of tips that we can provide are be passionate about what you're posting about, make sure that it's that quality content, and then just posting consistently. So making sure that you are keeping in tune with your audience and being social. It's social media, so when people respond, making sure that you respond back, and kind of engaging on that level as well. But I would be more than happy to connect further and really go into details for specifically what you're looking for.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Huntley, sorry, Brendan, Huntley, maybe you could address, just because many of our companies tend to be B2B versus B2C, and even just the distinguishing of that, how that dictates your presence on social media.
Absolutely. So that might dictate what channels you're on, as opposed to being on, say, Instagram. You might choose LinkedIn and Twitter over kind of that broadcast platform and just connect directly on LinkedIn. Something that I really like about LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter is that you can connect B2B, where businesses can follow other businesses and engage with their content, which I think is really handy. That's something that I really like Twitter for, is that it's so easy to connect with other companies that you might want to do work with. For a number of our clients, we will use direct messaging on Twitter and kind of connect that way as well. So kind of going outside of just the posting part of it, but posting about why other businesses might be interested in your product is super valuable. And Twitter is it's so shareable. And it's so easy to connect. The other thing that I really like about Twitter is that there are essentially different communities on Twitter. So it is very similar to kind of that networking or cocktail party, where there's these different conversations happening all over Twitter and trying to find where your niche is. So there's, a science Twitter, and granted, there's no specific chat room for a science Twitter, but you kind of get involved with the individuals who post about science Twitter, the universities, the research labs, and kind of who develops what different resources. So it's just kind of trying to find out where the other businesses that you're trying to connect with are, and then meeting them there.
If I can add, Huntley. Oh, I'm sorry, Huntley.
Oh, no, please.
I dropped off Facebook in 2010 when they decided that they thought it'd be a good idea to make all of my posts public without telling me. So I dropped off immediately, and then immediately got a professional LinkedIn account. So the difference there is I can send emails to whomever I want. And if I'm doing research for a company, they don't necessarily see who it is looking at their site if you don't want them to.
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of advantages to LinkedIn if you spend $25 a month on the account. And I've done it for 10 years, and I find it so relevant that I don't I don't use Facebook. Like I said, I live vicariously through my wife's Facebook profile, looking at what she's looking at. And then I have, I learned this from my social media millennial helpful guy who does a lot of work for me. I post from my Shorebreak account. I tag it from my personal account and I attach it to Twitter. So I'm doing all that in one posting, and I'm getting a lot of views, a lot more views that way. So, you know, I get up to, one of the posts I did for Halo had over 5,500 views. So, you know, and you add the hashtags at the end. That's where I'm hard. It's hard for me as well. You know, I've got the same color hair as Brendan. The other thing that's interesting, I would say, is, you know, my website's on Wix, and when someone goes on my website, I know that they're on my website. I know what city, state, and country they're from, and I know what page they're on. And it goes to my watch on my wrist. And I told my intern that his goal is to make that so annoying I have to turn that off, right? So, but I literally, you know, will surprise people with a chat at 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm not sleeping anyway, and they're checking out my website from Norway. And people get surprised when you do that, and you're not too intrusive about it too. I'm also careful not to do it too much because it gets kind of creepy if people feel like you're watching them all the time on your website.
Yeah, the reason Sean keeps referring to the color of his hair and mine is we live by one saying, old age and cunning will overcome youth and exuberance every day of the week.
Well, and fantastic that you found that, you know, that LinkedIn works best for you, and being able to link it out to Twitter. You know, if that is something that works for you, then that is fantastic.
I got to be realistic too. I'm myself. I can't be on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I just can't do it.
Oh, 100%.
You know, but I do
Absolutely.
know the value in LinkedIn. You know, I need to post more frequently, but I also don't like to waste posts. You know, so I try to make sure that the post is really something significant and relevant, and that
Absolutely.
tends to get the best number of views. And also, people tend to pay attention to, like, oh, I haven't seen Sean post in a while. He usually has something interesting he's posting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think you know, and I'm also concerned about posting, you know, setting a calendar reminder to post every Monday at 9.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, it just seems like, oh yeah, you know, yeah, here he comes again. You know, there's this one guy in China I love to follow. He posts pictures of valves, and all it says is like butterfly valve. You know, and so I just find him kind of interesting. He's posting on a regular basis, and I find it cute and entertaining more than I find it of business use, right? But so I try not to post too much either, and then obviously stay away from the politics, you know, and the personal trolling and stuff like that, which even I've experienced a couple times on LinkedIn, you know, coming my way.
Absolutely. Well, and it's definitely, like you mentioned, you know, posting quality content that your audience wants to see. Definitely quality over quantity, and then posting consistently. So consistently doesn't necessarily have to mean every Monday at 9, but maybe once a week, check in with your followers, and making sure that it is engaging. The challenge too, when it comes to trying to post quantity over quality, is if you're posting lower engagement content, the algorithm will start to not favor your content. So the more you post that isn't engaging content, the more it's going to impact your content down the road, even if that content would normally be super engaging. So, you know, it's absolutely something where you have to consider your resources, your time, and make sure that it can fit within what you're already doing. And, you know, like you mentioned, being on every channel isn't necessary for every company. You know, it might be if you are an enormous brand like Coca-Cola, you might want to be on every platform, but, you know, a lot of companies don't have those resources. And so really focusing on where your market is and meeting them there is just, like you mentioned, so important.
To tie into that, tell a quick story again with Brendan. I don't know why we're being so buddy-buddy today, but Brendan was here for a TMA board meeting, and we went to Stone Brewing afterwards. There was about 15 people there, and I took Brendan around to meet people. Again, it was only 12 or 15 people, and I said, hey, this is Brendan Grace, president of Halo Maritime Defense. And one of the guys there said, you know, I saw something I saw that company somewhere, and I said, it's probably my posting on LinkedIn about the boat crashing into their barrier. And they're like, yeah, that's it. And then I took Brendan to meet someone else not 5 minutes later out of 12 people. And I said, hey, this is Brendan from Halo. And the guy said, I saw something about those guys. Was it a boat crashing into a barrier? Yeah, that's it. And I remember Brendan saying, I got to go get LinkedIn for Dummies. Just that impression. So I know that day that doing it that way was working on LinkedIn. And of course, I'm nervous about making too many mistakes. I'm a pretty extroverted out there guy, right? So I don't want to have too much content out there, but I want it to be quality content.
Absolutely. Also, did the boat that hit the barrier, how did that story end?
I'll let Brendan tell that part of it.
We stopped a barrier. We stopped a boat. The boat stops. It's a 3-ton boat, 43, going about 50 miles an hour, and we stop it in 0.7 seconds in less than 3 meters or 10 feet.
That's a floating barrier.
So we have it in Israel now. We have it in Saudi Aramco protective facility there. We're putting it in Bahrain at the U.S. Navy base there. So yeah, it's kind of fun. It's interesting anyway. So it's unique. That's for sure.
Interesting.
Well, we're teaming up, and this is where, and I'll put a plug in for Michael and the team here at TMA. We're teaming up for those Earthwise. And we're integrating their system into our barrier. So not only do we stop bad guys, but we can stop or collect oil spillages and everything else around the port. So it's pretty cool.
That's so neat.
We got to get you guys to Mauritius quick.
Yeah, or it might be a little late for that, for that one. But we actually have that. We have a big opportunity, and Jimmy Mullen and I are working on it pretty closely. We got to get it integrated, though. It's what everyone wants. So it's pretty cool.
Brendan, I just wanted to add something Sean said sparked it in my mind that watching people a little older than myself, and just to be honest with you, I'm totally overwhelmed between text messages, WhatsApp, Twitter, YouTube. I don't know. There's just always stuff coming at you. So it's very difficult for anyone to keep up. But I've noticed that sometimes people of the generation ahead of me get very addicted to certain things. So like you might try one, like you're into LinkedIn already, so you might focus on that, or put the Twitter app on your phone and then maybe follow a couple people. I mean, there's all the old heroes on there. I follow Steve Martin and he is hilarious. And it's just, so it kind of serves as comic relief, a little, but I don't want to follow too many people. So just kind of dip into it a little bit. And you might find that you see a lot of your clients on there and it, it becomes the platform of choice. Or you might decide this is driving me crazy and delete the app, but just maybe trial and error is a way to go.
Absolutely. And Twitter, like you mentioned, is something it's very easy to get addicted to. You start picking out accounts that you would like to follow, you start picking out accounts that could be potential clients or customers, and Twitter is such a fast turnover. So the half-life of a tweet is 30 minutes. And so pretty much everything happens super quick. Not to say that so short, 280 characters. And not to say that if someone posted the day before, you can't engage with it, but just Twitter it's very easy to hop onto Twitter and then all of a sudden 2 hours pass and, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and time to go to bed. But Twitter, it's a fantastic tool that I really can't recommend enough.
Melissa often sends us updates to do with ocean and water technology that she finds on Twitter. It's an education. It's useful.
So thanks. So I'm going to give them just sensitive to time. We want everyone to stay, but we wanted, for the editing purposes that we have a nice little clean break, but we welcome anyone who wants to stay. We can enjoy Brendan's happy hour because I know it's happy hour for him. So thank you to all our presenters, to Katuvi, to Finest City Entertainment, to Shorebreak Tech, for giving all these tips and tricks. We are a community, so it's great that we're all sharing, and including everyone else, giving what they've learned. We are happy to bring this community together, and we hope to see everybody at BlueTech Week.